I have only been testing the Bigme InkNote Colour Lite for a few days, but is it even close to challenging the mighty Tab Ultra C, which is currently definitely the best ink tablet that you can buy? This version is definitely a little bit lower in specifications, but really it is only the storage that you need to worry about, especially when compared to the Tab Ultra C, because the Tab Ultra C also only has 4 GB of RAM. But if you feel like you might want that expanded storage, because there is a SIM card tray, but no, there is TFs. But if you feel like you might want that extra storage, then perhaps you want to go up to the full flavored InkNote Colour Plus. And then you'd get the extra 6 GB of RAM, which would be useful if you were doing a lot of switching between tasks. A short while after I unboxed this, I decided to do a bit of a live comparison with my first thoughts versus the Tab Ultra C, which seemed like a natural thing to do. And here's some of that footage for you today, some of the things that I noticed.
We're going to do the comparison between the Tab Ultra C and the Bigme InkNote Colour Lite, Colour Plus Lite, with its Kaleido-free screen. So again, be really careful that you don't end up buying one with a Kaleido 2 screen, unless you want to save a bit of money and expect to have it a little bit cheaper. I've said that the Tab Ultra C has no rival at all. And well, let's see, is this one a rival? Or is it dead on arrival? We'll have to find out what is what there. I just want to really match up the color brightness here. They're on a similar sort of level, slightly colder. They get it the wrong way around, don't they? In my opinion, yeah, they're on a similar sort of level. Maybe this one wants to be a little bit brighter to sort of match up.
The screen performance of the Tab Ultra C is definitely better. In some apps it's night and day, and it is a little bit strange that one app seems to perform better than another app here on the Bigme device. Whereas you're pretty much getting a consistently good use of the ink screen across all apps that I've tested on the Tab Ultra C.
You do get the Pen Plus with this, so that has the eraser on the back. The buttons on the Bigme Pen can act as an eraser, as well as a page turn button and things like that as well. There's no front camera on the Tab Ultra, but it does have a rear camera if that's something that you are desperately needing. Although this rear camera has been a bit lambasted by the communities that are out there. I don't mind it because it lives in a case all the time. This does have front and back cameras, but they're flush with the device, as you can see. And so that means that it can sit flat on any surface whatsoever. I accidentally pressed the off button there. Fingerprint readers are very good on both, by the way. They just take a little touch. They're good. Again, this front camera points to it being more intended for a business sort of use. So video calls and things like that. And you could theoretically do that on the device here. Whether you really will is another question. Both obviously have the full Google Play as well. Again, I've talked about the matte screen protector affecting the clarity here, and I think you can really see that. But both do have the 300 dpi screen. It's the exact same screen, really. But it just looks a bit clearer to me, at least on the Boox device. Maybe I'll just zoom in a little bit for you, see if you can see that difference. I think you can see it there, can't you? I think they're just going for the very best viewing experience here. And this is the very best viewing experience currently, the 10.3 Tab Ultra C. Then the biggest difference for me is in the reader software and in the keyboard case. So let's go and have a look into the reader software. When you have a book like this, where you're going to want to read some of this text and you're going to want to zoom in, that's not going to be comfortable to read on that. It's nice to be able to crop in and actually read in a more comfortable way. And the Boox Neo Reader does that better, in my opinion, than the Bigme software does. So if I go into it's in format, it's in navigation here. So I've only got reflow there, and the reflow is certainly, as I've seen so far, a bit unusable here. See, that's horrible, the way it's done that line spacing. You see some of the typos in there. Can you see that okay on this screen? And there's just, there's quite a few times like that where they just haven't been through enough iterations of this software to make it absolutely seamless. What have we got in navigation? Format? Here, yeah. So I can do a crop, but I have no sort of article mode. Do a crop here, fit width. Actually, that's done it pretty well. And actually it's right cropped up to the thing here. Whereas the article mode that you get here, it's just so much better. I want to crop top and bottom of these. Come to here and here. That's cropped in tight. When I now rotate it, now got the text nice and large. I can scan through my PDF like so, cropping nicely to the text. Although because this is going left and right, it's still not giving me the best view. What I would have if it's an A4 PDF, I would just have top and bottom and be the total width of the page. And that way I would almost just get the top of the A4 page and then the bottom of the A4 page. And then if it's an image like this, I'd need to be able to see the whole thing. So that would work. That would be a pretty comfortable way to read this particular book. rotate it when you need to see the entire picture, and then rotate it when you need the text to be pretty much full size. So the reader is better here on the Boox device. There's also more options in terms of the annotations.
Screen feel and pen latency I know is something that you're going to be interested in. I did notice slightly higher latency with the Bigme pen. That is a software thing rather than the pen itself, because they're the same thing down to the Wacom tips. But it does seem that Boox Tab Ultra C is getting a slightly faster response to the pen in terms of its writing. But I wouldn't term it as lag here on the Bigme InkNote Colour Lite. The other thing is the Tab Ultra. The other thing is that the Tab Ultra does give you a slightly higher clarity in the screen because they aren't giving you that textured matte surface, whereas the Bigme InkNote has that textured matte surface for that realistic pen and paper writing feel, which the Tab Ultra has less of, but you're sacrificing the clarity for that. So you've got to ask yourself, do you want the pen feel or do you want the screen clarity? I know which camp I'm in there. I'm team clarity, but you might be team pen feel on the screen. You could, of course, get the Tab Ultra C with some type of paper-like screen protector.
But the other biggest difference about the Tab Ultra is going to be that keyboard case, which I personally think is excellent. There's no pogo pins on this at all, although I'm absolutely certain you could attach a keyboard to this. It's quite nicely fitted the width to that, actually, to be quite honest to it. Yeah, and it's zoomed out there, but now my text is small. Now I would really want it, but actually that's not too bad there, is it? But there's no way of doing a keyboard case with this that isn't Bluetooth, so you would have to link your Bluetooth into the Bigme every single time, whereas the keyboard case on here I've documented is really quite good, and you also get your text notes. Both of them can use your Microsoft apps, for instance. They can use any app that you would want to from the App Store. I haven't seen yet an option to use work mode apps, which is something that I really like here. Now Boox had to enable that actually within the settings, and I haven't seen a setting for enabling that as yet in the Bigme, but we'll see if the work mode apps can work on the Bigme ones as well. It also, I was wondering, I actually have had this device crash twice already in testing, and I can't remember a time when this device has crashed, although it may well have done, but I have had this device crash twice on me. So whether that RAM actually is too small is a question, or whether actually that's gone if you buy the full flavored 6 GB of RAM one. The biggest thing for me, the biggest difference is that keyboard case. And that's, you know, for being your sort of work-based emailer and actually managing your Word documents on there, which I do a lot, that keyboard case is really aces. So which one feels more comfortable to hold one-handed? There is a sort of rounded edge to this. So if you're worried about that, then yeah, this isn't sharp like the Boox devices, but the Tab Mini C isn't sharp either. So I wouldn't worry. The sharp edges haven't really bothered me too much as well. Yes, Tab Ultra C is still to go for the productivity for that keyboard case, really. And it handles apps so well, and that Boox Super Refresh technology does work. It does what it says on the tins, and it makes the apps work really quite well. Does Bigme offer any better alternative? Yeah, this is the light version. I think the InkNote is being their flagship at the minute. Oh, by the way, one thing I didn't notice is that I quite like this wraparound case, but it does mean that you're sort of going to take it out, because when you sit it on the table in this case, it's almost a little bit like spongy and it doesn't feel great there as well. So good that it hasn't got the bump, because it's got that case there as well. So when you're handwriting on it, it doesn't always feel great. I did wonder, are there any easily noticeable sort of funny spots where the magnets throw it off? Not that I can see immediately. Maybe there, but maybe that was me. Close to the edge, definitely. Look at that big magnet wobble there. So whether it's probably just the case rather than the speakers, but again, you're probably going to take it out of the case if you want to do any longer writing with this. I don't think the response is that bad when writing with the Bigme. No, it looks okay. It probably isn't going to be quite as good as the Boox, because this Boox is one of the very best in the business at the minute. Yeah, so the way it does with OneNote is you use a global handwriting mode, which is fine. It automatically goes into that. The nice thing about Bigme is they allow you to do global handwriting mode on every single thing. So if I click on global handwriting mode, it now allows the pen to work as a pen everywhere, but I can still press with a finger on that button. So the global handwriting mode is really quite good. Whereas Boox have just done that in OneNote, but they haven't allowed you to just do that in anything. So that's quite cool. And that means that inside OneNote, you can actually annotate, and then it sort of prints in there. So it doesn't feel as you are writing like there's a big lag. I will let you know about the reading experience for comics. I imagine both pretty similar, but the ghosting here, look, that would be gone on the Boox. I'm absolutely certain of that. That would have, the super refresh technology would have just taken that away almost immediately. Yeah, it does have, that's the meeting notes feature that I mentioned earlier, which is really quite good. Whether that meeting notes actually has a real life use, because obviously I have quite a lot of meetings myself, we will see.
Stay tuned though for my in-depth testing of this and my full review, especially if you are looking forward to the Note Air 3C, something that has that paper-like screen but also has the excellent battery life and doesn't necessarily have the amazing GPU performance. So that might not be necessary for you, and this could be that. This could be a good stopgap, especially if you're waiting for that Note style device from Boox, because it's good value, and as long as the battery performs as well as a Note device, which is no guarantees that it will, of course, as long as that is the case, then it could be a viable alternative to waiting for the Note Air 3C. Look forward to my full review as well, because this could be the best value option. In fact, it's only coming in as just slightly more than the smaller device from Boox, the Tab Ultra C. So it's worth looking into at the very least.